the second feedback session. So let me just check that everything is working okay first before we start, because as you probably know, live video works sometimes, but it doesn't work all the time. Alright. Yep. So if you can hear me and see me and everything, just let me know, and I'll be able to fix it if there's any problems, but I don't think there's any problems. So feedback session number 2. Alright, so one comment. Feedback session. So let me just check. So hello Doublet, hello. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing any of your names, I'm really sorry. Thorin Rose Harrison. Harrison's easy, that's an Irish name. Gurpreet, Win, that's an easy one. Manar Soyimi, Diraj, Manar. Excellent. Okay, thank you very much for everybody tuning in. Okay, so we had a huge number of questions yesterday, so I'm going to jump into it as quickly as I can and get through the feedback as quickly as I can, because we did have a huge number of questions. However, before I start, most of the questions that people were asking are actually answered in the lessons that are going to be later this week. So anything to do with developing main body paragraphs, explanations, examples, we're going to be doing that tomorrow. So maybe wait until then to ask any questions about that. Vocabulary, paraphrasing, anything to do with that, Thursday, grammar, Friday. Any other questions, feel free to ask, and I'll try and get through as many as I can. But let's keep it to the stuff that, that's useful. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you feedback on your plans. So what I asked you to do was take the structure that I gave you and to create a structure plan. What I mean by structure plan is when you have a basic skeleton structure and you populate it with your ideas. So I looked at all of your stuff that you did. Thank you very much to everybody who did that. Some were great, some were so-so, and some were not so great. What I did, instead of creating a whole lesson, what I did was I took how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've taken 4 real student samples. Some of them are really good, some of them are so-so, some of them need improvement, and I'm going to show you them, and then we're going to talk about why they're good and why they're so-so, or why they need improvement, and we'll learn from that. And then after, I will take any questions that you have. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so lesson 2. Feedback. So this was the example that I gave you, alright, for a different question. So this is the example that I gave you. So what I asked you to do was take this idea and add this question to it. So what I wanted you to do was take this basic structure, remove the ideas, and add your own ideas for this question. So as I said, some of them are great, some of them not so good. Let's look at some of them and let's talk about why they're good or why they're not so good. Okay, so this one, this person has decided to talk about national security. So this is the reason why we should not have information open and as freely as possible. That's a really clear idea. That's good. The explanation is not really explaining anything. So it's pretty obvious that what you mean there is national security at risk. This is just a plan, but maybe if you would have added a little bit more here to explain it. So obviously it's just a plan, it's not a full essay, but you might want to help yourself a little bit more. The example, hack codes to launch bomb, that is not a real example. I'm not aware of, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not aware of any terrorists hacking codes and launching bombs by hacking systems and stuff like that. That might be an example like of you saying this could happen, but it's better to use examples that have actually happened, real concrete examples. So this one was okay, the idea is fine, but the explanation in the example could maybe improve a little bit. So this is the same person, and they've said improve research so others can collaborate to enhance research. So that's really good. That's a really obvious answer, and that's a good explanation. Obviously they're going to explain it a little bit more in the essay, but that's pretty good. And then their example, detecting cancer at an early stage, that's really good also. By the way, these are student ones, so if there's any spelling mistakes or grammar mistakes, it's not mine. I've taken them directly from. So this one, first one, could improve it a little bit. Second one, much better. So let's look at student sample number 2. So they've put national security here, but you can see the difference. The explanation is much better. Falls into the wrong hands, terrorists can cause catastrophic events. Example, create bombs at home using simple ingredients. So that's something that actually does happen quite a lot. So the explanation is a bit better. The example is real. That's a much better one. They've used the same idea, but they're giving more explanations. One thing that when you're planning, if you think of, 2 or 3 or 4 explanations, just write them down. You don't have to use all of them. What you're doing is you're just making it easy for yourself when you start to write. It's better to have an abundance of ideas and an abundance of explanations and all of those different things than it is to, it's better to be looking at it than it is to be looking for it, as they say in Ireland. Alright, so this is the same student, and this one. So it's the same student, and they put the topic sentence as a stronger country. And then their explanation is great advancements in health, energy management. That's their spelling mistake, not mine. This one is a little bit vague. Maybe in the real test, they, in the full essay, they'll be able to explain that a little bit more. But it just seems a little bit vague, to be honest. The example, Germany has the strongest and healthiest economy. Okay, but I don't understand how sharing information and having open information leads to Germany having a strong and healthy economy. There are many reasons why Germany has a strong and healthy economy, but I don't understand why, and you haven't really shown that. So strong country, bit vague. Explanation, hasn't really explained it. Example, I can't really see the link between them. Maybe when you write your full essay, this will be much better, but for this one, I think it could improve. It's the same student who did this one. I think this one is far better because it's very obvious. Somebody could look at this and know exactly what you mean. This one, it's difficult to understand what you mean here. So those two are pretty good. Lots of things that could improve. And now let's look at this one. Before we do, if I choose yours as one that needs improvement, do not get upset. In order to improve, you need feedback. You need someone to tell you where you're going wrong. So don't get upset with me and say, why did you choose me, and blah, blah, blah. Like, that's just the way it is. And it will help you. So this is the second one, or the third student. There are topic sentences, education unites. Open source is more educated and more opportunity for job. Example, learned via internet. Now, if you gave that to someone on the street, let's say you just met somebody and handed them that on a piece of paper, would they know what you mean? I don't think they would. I don't understand what education unites means. The explanation does not really make it clearer, and the example doesn't seem like a real example. It doesn't seem like it would be an effective example. So that's something that I think this needs a lot of work. And the same student, the defense of each explanation, economics, example, innovations. And again, this seems, maybe this student was in a rush or they were trying to do it as quickly as possible. But again, the main idea doesn't make any sense. The explanation does not explain anything, and the example doesn't seem like a real example. In the real test, if you had something like this, it is not going to help you. The only reason why you do this is so that it can help you during the writing stage. It should be a tool that helps you. This is going to hinder you. It's not going to help you. It's going to do the opposite. So that's why it's a good idea to spend a bit of time and be careful and do it properly. So the next one, this is the fourth student. So the topic, information in education stuff. Explanation, student takes info to their report or thesis. Example, copy-paste sentence without credit or stealing whole ideas. Topic sentence, the main idea doesn't mean anything. Explanation, that doesn't help either. Example, does that example have any authority? You're just talking about one student, or are you going to talk about, a real case, a real story, a bit of data or something like that? So again, this one I think would hinder the student more than it would help them. This is the same student. Topic, internet. Explanation, gadget unavoidable fast. Example, people easy to take information through internet. Again, that just doesn't make any sense to me. Your plan should make perfect sense to anybody looking at it, because if it doesn't make sense to them, it's not going to make sense to you, and it's going to lead to a very confused very confused essay. So let me just do this. So one of the things that really helps my VIP students is one of the things that I was teaching them, and I said, your writing is a reflection of your thinking. So what you put on the paper is a reflection of what you are thinking. So if you're really confused and you don't really know what you're doing, then you're going to write a very confusing essay. Planning helps you organize your thoughts so that you can put those on the paper, and then that leads into you writing a clear, coherent, cohesive essay. So if you're writing a plan that is very confusing and very confused, that's going to lead to a confusing essay. So take the time, and as I said, invest the time in planning and thinking and putting your thoughts down, because if you can't do it in the planning stage when you're just focusing on your ideas, you're not going to be able to do it when you're writing. It's not going to become any easier. So it's good to take those few minutes to think clearly and think about what you're going to write, and that is going to lead to a far better essay. So that's a really good piece of advice, and something that has helped students in the past when they've been confused like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my my plan. So I did a plan for you just to show you how I would do it and give you a good example. So this is the question, and here's my plan. Okay, so my two ideas are privacy and education. So my topic sentence is about privacy. My explanations, people's personal information shouldn't be shared. An example, would you like your Google search history shared with the world? Would you like the information about you on Facebook shared with the world? Would you like your browser history shared with the world? I'm sure you wouldn't. Everybody has secrets when it comes to those different things. So it's your information, it's your private information. So all information shouldn't be shared. So if you look at that, that's pretty obvious. Privacy, everyone knows what that means, especially in the context of that question. Explanation, it explains that. An example, it's a concrete, specific example that anyone, so I could hand that to anybody on the street and they would understand what it means. So here is my second paragraph. So my topic sentence, my idea is education. So it helps education. Explanation, students can access books, articles, etc. freely. So improves education by giving people access to that information. Example, Wikipedia. So years ago, before the internet, for you young people, only people who had access to encyclopedias, and normally only wealthy people had access to encyclopedias, especially in their home. And nowadays, if you have a phone and you have an internet connection, you can look at Wikipedia and you can access all that information because it's shared freely. Wikipedia isn't the best source of information for a lot of things. It's not as reliable as some other sources, but it's a good example. Everybody knows what that means and everybody can relate to that. And I agree with that. Okay, so that's my plan. So what makes a good plan, or what will help you in the test? So it is there to help you and guide you through the writing process. Therefore, it should be clear, should be specific, should be considered, i.e. you've taken the time to think about it, and it should be logical. It should make sense. So if your ideas and your plan are clear, specific, considered, and logical, that's a great plan. If they're not clear, if they're vague, if you've done it in a rush and you haven't thought about it at all and it doesn't make any sense, then your essay will definitely not make sense. Because if you can't write a clear plan, there's no way that you're going to write a clear essay. And that might sound harsh, but I see it every single day of the week. That's my job. My job is to look at essays and help people with their work, and I see this every single day where people either have no plan at all, or they have just rushed through their plan and not really considered what they're doing, and then halfway through their essay they're like, where am I? I'm lost. So it's worth investing that time. So now what I'm going to do is go through your questions. So I'm going to answer as many questions as I can, but I only have until 7 p.m. So is giving examples compulsory? Yes. Sir, explain us what is the topic sentence. Tomorrow's lesson is about topic sentences. Please do not ask questions about topic sentences, explanations, examples, developing main ideas, vocabulary, paraphrasing, or grammar, because they're next. They're coming up next, and I don't want to waste time. You did not give an example of how to summarize and write a conclusion. The lesson isn't finished yet, Arshdeep. Like, calm down. How to write topics tomorrow. Can we write overview, then state one? No, don't write an overview. I'm struggling with explanations tomorrow. How to write a topic sentence tomorrow. The people that are asking these questions are the same people that are complaining that I keep telling them what is happening next week. So, or, sorry, later on this week. Jihan, do the examples have to be actual examples and known by people, or can they be based on personal experience or knowledge? You can use personal experience or knowledge, but most of the time that's not as good as something that is widely known. Like, let's say we were talking about smoking and cancer. If I said my neighbor smoked and he died of cancer, so what? That's my neighbor. That's one person. But if I said that, 50% of the people that smoked in my country died of cancer, then that's so much more authoritative. So yes, you can use them, but be careful with them. Is there a way to get more ideas and learn more? Yes, reading. Read and you will learn more. That sounds really simple, but it is the most effective way. It's kind of like asking, how do I run faster? Run. How do I become stronger? Lift weights. How do I become better at swimming? Swim. How do I get better at how do I get more ideas? Read. So a lot of people have been asking this, like, what if we agree with both sides? Your personal opinion, what you think about it personally, doesn't matter. You can do that, but you're overcomplicating it and you're making it more difficult than it needs to be. For 99% of discussion questions, there's going to be a very one is going to be this way and one's going to be that way. It's very difficult to agree with both. You can do that if you want, and all you would do is just say, I agree, that's fine. But you're kind of overcomplicating it. Maduri, I'm confused. Where do I state my stand? If you're confused about that, then you haven't been watching the lessons, because we state very, very clearly where you're doing that. So re-watch the lessons. Tushin, are we going to lose marks for vague ideas? Yes, you are. Ahmed, should both body paragraphs be the same length? Again, we talked about this yesterday and the day before, or did we talk about it the day before? Students get obsessed with word count and sentence numbers and all of those different things. It's about quality. It's not about the number of sentences or the number of words or whatever. You know, that's what really matters. Quality is what matters. But in general, your main body paragraphs should be around the same length, but do not, sit and count words or anything like that. What if I don't have actual examples? You need to read more. In your lesson, you used HS2 as an example. I thought we could only use real-time present examples and not something that will happen in the future. No. That's something that is happening at the moment. It's going to be built in the future, but it's happening right now. It's been planned out and it's been debated and it's been doing all those things. So, yeah, it's a strange thing to I don't know. Sharika, which opinion should be given in the first body paragraph? If you're asking that question, you haven't watched the lesson, so it should be pretty obvious from the lesson. So a lot of people are asking, can you just give us the structures of the 5 types of essays? No, because they would be completely useless to you. Just giving you the structures, just giving you the overall structures is not going to help you, because you need an explanation of those structures. Like the analogy I used yesterday, it would be like before your driving test saying to your driving instructor, just give us an overview of what to do and how to drive the car. Like, would that work? No. You need in-depth lessons on each of them. That's what you need. If just basic structures worked, I'd give them to you, but I'm not going to give you something that is actually going to lower your score because you'll mess it up, and I do not want, thousands of emails from people telling me that I lowered their score. What if I don't have actual examples? You will, because you should be prepared. You should be reading every day. You should be listening to English every day. And for most things, you will be able to think of an example. Or, as I showed you in the lesson, or we're going to talk about that also tomorrow when we're looking at examples. Does this structure apply to other essay types? No, it does not. How many sentences should be written in one paragraph? If people worried about the things that really matter and didn't worry about the things that don't matter, then you would get the score that you need. Like, how many words, how many sentences, do I use a pen or a pencil? Should I skip a line or should I use it? Like, none of these things matter to your score. The things that matter are the things that I'm teaching you. Focus on the most important things and forget about the things that don't matter. I know that you're students, and as a teacher, I should be teaching you that. But it's strange. Antishenko, I don't understand that question. Some students wrote and disagree paragraph by terrorism, and that's why they disagree. I understand it. But we had to focus on the reason why some people agree with you. You didn't have to agree with one side or the other. You just agree with one side and disagree with the other side. You can pick which one you want to do. Or maybe I'm misjudging your question. Should we follow the exact paragraph plan, or can we vary? You can vary it if you want, but it'd be a very, very bad idea because you're probably going to do something wrong. But it's up to you what you want to do. Can we use the same sentence structure for main body paragraph and to in the conclusion? You're not. We're going to work on conclusions on Thursday, so wait until then. How do you say Google search history is related to business and research? How is it not? How is it not? Claudio, can I use same introduction structure to the other types of essay? No. How to write body paragraphs simply? Tomorrow. What type of example? Tomorrow. Tomorrow we're focusing on developing main body paragraphs, which is about topic sentences, explanations, examples, all of that good stuff. So if you have a question about that, just wait till tomorrow and you'll get all that good stuff. I get confused which paragraph to start first. You told us to start disagree first. Yes, for that structure, yeah. There's a lot of questions that are asking the exact same thing as we've already talked about, so I'm just ignoring them, for the purpose of doing everything quickly. Do you need to clearly say why you agree or disagree with something? Yes, that would be a good idea. Chris, I got 6 in writing. What could have affected me? Christian, I've no idea because it could be 100 different things. That's like going into the doctor and saying, I feel sick, what do you think is wrong with me? Before they are able to look at you or test you or see, because it could be hundreds of things. There's no one thing that caused you to have a 6 or to get a 6. Sir, can we write the main body part agree first, or are we supposed to write disagree first? If yes, why? Can you please explain? Why not just follow what someone who has helped more people than anyone else in the world get high IELTS scores, and they're telling you what to do? Why not just agree with them and follow what they say? If you want to do it your way, do it your way. But I think you're overcomplicating it and overthinking it. Is there a definite way to make sure our ideas and explanations are good and specific? Yes, get feedback on them. Get someone to look at them and tell you if they're like that. It's like, would you learn how to drive without an instructor? Would you try and fix your own car? Would you treat your own medical condition, or would you go to a doctor? Why do you think IELTS would be any different? You should get feedback on your work from an expert. What if I'm stuck, Caitlin? What if I'm stuck somewhere in between both opinions? You're overthinking everything. You're really, really overthinking. Your personal opinion doesn't matter. It's not like, so it said, which one do you agree or disagree with? So some people are like, oh, I agree with both. What you think personally doesn't matter. All you're doing is just demonstrating to the examiner that you know how to write an essay. So what you personally think doesn't really matter. Roxana, can we invent statistics? Yes, but only if they make sense and they support your idea. Is it compulsory to give my opinion? So it says in the question, discuss both views and give your opinion. So do you think that they want you to give your opinion? There's a clue in the question. What's the easiest way to calculate the number of words? Practice using the official writing paper. You can download it. You can get it on the internet. And then you'll notice what 25 or 50 or 100 words of your handwriting looks like on that paper. That's one way of doing it, very quick way. The second way is to follow a structure like the one I just showed you that guarantees that you will always go over 250 words. If you're following that structure, you will always go over 250 words. Does the size of each paragraph matter? No. There are a lot of things that matter. Number of sentences is not one of them. Can we partially agree with both views? You can if you want. You can do whatever you want, but I wouldn't recommend it. Imran Khan, I don't understand your question. If you want to rewrite it, let me know. Do you know maybe a website or tool where we can read to enhance our explanations and examples? Yes, any newspaper, any good high quality newspaper like The Guardian, The New York Times, The Times, any decent newspaper. If you read a couple of stories every day, you'll soon build up a very good bank of examples and explanations and things like that. One of the things that I insist that my VIP students do is read the news every single day. Don't have to read every single news story, but I give them a list of topics that they should be reading about, and I suggest to them that they should be, spending 20 minutes a day. That's all it takes, 20 minutes, reading news articles about common Task 2 topics. That's all you need to do. How can we use idea generation like this skeleton in the real exam? I don't understand the question. How can we use this in the real exam? Exactly the way that I showed you. You write it out, and then so you're writing it out. That's your planning stage. It's like the first 5 to 10 minutes. Then you take that plan and you write your answer. That's how you would do it. Muhammad Ali, I do not have time to answer 4 very long, detailed questions. Pick one, and I'll try my best to answer that. Can we use more than one example? No, you don't need to use more than one example. Someone who has a Russian-looking name. My teacher says that it would be better to develop the first opinion in the first paragraph, second, and my opinion in the third. Does it work? Yeah, you can do that if you want, if you do it properly. But I'm not going to show you 17 different structures for one type of essay. There are many, many, many good ways to do things, but it would be a waste of time, and it would be highly confusing, and it would be difficult to learn if I show you many, many, many different structures. What I've done over the years is just pick the structure that is easy to teach, easy to learn, and very effective. And those are the 3 criteria. So, there are many other ways that you can do it. There are many other ways that you can't do it also. Why do not mention causes in the thesis statement in the introduction? Because you don't need to. How to differentiate between vague and good ideas, get feedback on your work. But really, if you have to ask yourself that question, it's probably vague. In your lesson 2, why have you not given the sample for main body paragraph 2? This wasn't part of the lesson. Chris, do I have to mention in the body paragraphs that I disagree, or just mention that I agree? You can do that if you want. Like, all of these questions, like, so how do I phrase this? So let's think of something that I need help with. So let's say I need help with my website. Let's say I need help with designing my website. And the best website designer in the world comes to my house and says, this is the way that you should do it. And they're the best website designer in the world. Would it be a good idea for me to say, yeah, I know that's great, but can I change that? Why do you put that in? And why don't you change this around? And why don't I do this and why don't I do that? Like, see my point? I'm not saying I'm the best teacher in the world, but I do get very, very good results. So if somebody's telling you what to do and they're very good at their job, why not do that? Mr. Pell, please can you do one course focusing on task 1? Yes, I do have one, and it's called the VIP course, and it is closed. How many, after finish this course, we can keep it? It's all deleted after 7 days. Can you grade our essays in the end of the week? Do you think I can grade 2,500 essays? Think about what you're saying. Think about that it takes about 20-30 minutes. Multiply that by 2,500. Sorry if I'm sounding like, like I'm not a very nice person, but think about what you're saying. How can we apply the structure of discuss both views to other types of essays? You can't. It's only for discussion essays. Fada, you're asking about examples. We'll talk about examples tomorrow. Mohammed, so you're asking the difference between this essay disagrees with this viewpoint or I disagree with this viewpoint. Either is fine. It's not a big deal. All you have to do is to show the examiner that you're stating your opinion. So you can do it's fine to do that, or you can put this essay or whatever. It doesn't really matter. As long as you do it clearly, correctly, it's fine. Can you teach us about task 1 in the future? Yes, if you want to join my VIP course, you can learn everything you want. Reading, speaking, task 1, task 2, any type of essay you want. But I can't magically create new 5-day challenges like that. It takes months to create these courses. Can we put a sense of humor in the essays? I would not. No, I would not do that. Should one focus on handwriting? Does more clear handwriting score more? No, because you are being judged on your ability to communicate in English. Nice handwriting does not enhance your ability. So, no. Christian says, does this make sense? The data obtained can be treated without confidentiality and privacy, leading to social potential harms. Not really. No, it doesn't really make sense. You are being overly ambitious with your vocabulary. You're being overly ambitious with the level of English that you're trying to achieve. And the result is that your sentence is not very clear at all. You would benefit by simplifying your language. It's better to have a simple sentence that means something than a sentence full of complex words that means nothing. It matters when the question says about research, education and business, but in your example you mentioned Google search history. I'm not sure how it relates. Google is a business. How often do people use search history for business? How often do they use it for education, for research? Think about it. if I don't understand the question, what should I do? Nothing you can do. If you don't understand the question, there's nothing you can do. But 99% of questions, you will be able to understand them. I'd say 100%. If you're looking at questions that you do not understand, they're probably fake questions. Because the questions are designed by Cambridge so that 99% of people with half an education in any part of the world could understand them. And I think that you have half an education. So there you go. Can you be specific with word count? Yes, you have to write over 250 words. That's it. That's the only thing you have to think about. Can I have two ideas? No. In ones that no. Thank you, Chris. You are a great help. Thank you, Hala. One person said it. Instead of, can I change this? Go on about this. Can I change that? Is it possible to give our point in the conclusion? Yes, you should do that. Any correction service for writing? Yes, I have. Sometimes I get stuck up on idea and can't go ahead. What am I supposed to do? Planning. Do all of your thinking, get everything done with your planning, and then move on to writing and use your plan to start writing. Also have a bit more confidence about yourself and be a bit more decisive. In your sample of the question, you didn't consider the research, business, and academic things. Wouldn't it be taken? No, because it does cover those things. So, please explain how people do not use Google search histories in business or in academia or in research or whatever. Please explain that to me, that people don't use Google. And people don't have private information in businesses. You are looking you are looking at this video on a business, which is Facebook, which has your private information, and you're complaining that I didn't cover it. So it is, maybe I'm missing something, but it seems pretty clear to me. Mawish, I scored 7 in writing in the first attempt without any paragraph plan, and later I followed this plan and I scored 6.5. Could it be the paragraph plan or anything else? So, as mentioned in the lesson, structures are about 5% of your mark. They help, but they're very, very small. 25% of your mark is vocabulary, 25% of your mark is grammar, nothing to do with structure. 25% of your mark is understanding and answering the question, nothing to do with structure. 25% is about coherence and cohesion, most of that is nothing to do with structure. So if you got a 6.5, it's not the structure's fault, it's not the plan's fault, it's something else, because, you know, it's like, I can't think of an analogy, but what if we state our opinion only at the end of the essay? Catalina, your opinion will not be clear throughout the essay. So if you look at the official marking criteria, it says clear throughout the entire essay. So yours wouldn't be. Which sentence is good? Oh, we've already answered that question. Chris, is it okay to miss an example? No. Can we invent examples? Yes. We're doing examples tomorrow. Do the examiners consider more than 250 word essays boring? They consider all your essays boring, every single one of them. It is not a job you take because you love reading essays, but you must go over 250 words. So it's it's an illogical question. How can we improve sentence making? Improve your grammar and your vocabulary. No. So Thursday, Friday. And Tishenko, I still don't understand what you mean. Sorry. And I'm trying to get through as many things as possible, so I don't have time to, carefully contemplate everything. Chris, can you highlight the complex sentences while teaching main body paragraphs? A complex sentence is a sentence with more than one clause. So if you see any sentence with more than one clause, that's a complex sentence. Can you give us some topics to read about every day? The common topics are education, the environment, technology, health, crime, government, things like that. Things that you read about in the news every day. Is it difficult to move from 6.5 to 7? Good question. Not if you have the right help. It's very, very difficult to move from 6.5 to 7 if you've no feedback on your writing. Nearly impossible. But if you have the right help and a good system and somebody's giving you feedback and you're improving and you know how to get a 7, then it's pretty easy. It's just a matter of identifying why you got 6.5 and helping you move up to a 7. Shurika, how to paraphrase? Thursday. We're going to work on that on Thursday. Mohammed, you keep asking the same question. I've already answered it. How can we reach you to mark our essays? I only do that for my VIP students because that's who I have to help, because they've given me a lot of money and they put a lot of trust in me. So I can't mark 2,500 essays, and those are the people that I help the most. So sorry about that, but that's just the way it is. Can you give us more specific things to read daily from the newspaper? Already did there. When is the VIP course opening? It's currently closed. We might probably have seats on Friday available. Any good source of vocabulary? Yeah, any text in English is full of vocabulary. So read. Roxana, 52 consecutive days for correcting all the essays with no sleep. Thank you, Roxana. Is there any other structure for task 2? Yeah, there's loads of them. Can we write an overview in task 1? Yes, you can. Can I use personal experiences? Yes, you can, but be very careful with them. It's easy to mess them up. Sir, my previous teacher said never use words like we or I. Your teacher didn't know what they were talking about. You should avoid we or I. You should avoid personal pronouns, but you have to use them sometimes. And you do not get really low marks if you do use them very sparingly. So be careful. Careful who you listen to. How will I know if I wrote 250 words? We've already talked about that. I cannot afford your VIP course, Jinan, so use the free material on IELTS Advantage. Can we use discussion essay structure for agree or disagree? No, you can't. Chris, will you be able to pick at least 3 best answers? I picked a range of different answers today. It's at the beginning of the video. Do you have a full VIP course only for writing and reading? Yes. When can I join? We should have places available on Friday. We have a course that is cheaper that just covers writing, reading, and listening. And then we have the full course which covers speaking and writing and all of those different things. Any good sources of examples available online? Yes, any newspaper, any news site. Can I write all the essay in capital letters? I would not do that. No, I would not do that. You can do that for the reading test, the listening test, but I wouldn't do it. Well, why not just do it right normally? It will contribute in the Christian Grasso. It will contribute in the empowerment of the society's education. You're still making mistakes. You're being overly ambitious with your language. It would be like, if you were going to lift weights, it would be like trying to lift the heaviest weight in the gym. You're going to kill yourself. You're going to drop it on your head. Do not try and use really, really, really complicated language unless you're able to do that. Irina, I used your speaking strategy and I got a 7. Well done. Must I say this essay thinks? No, you don't have to. When are you reopening the VIP course? Friday. Will repeated words get a count? Yes, words are words, so don't worry about that. Please provide tips on sentence structure. We're going to be working on grammar on Friday. Mane. So a lot of you are asking this question about, like, the question talks about scientific research, business, and academics. So what I did was I chose something that was like applicable to all of those different things. So privacy, just private information. So let me explain this, because a lot of you are criticizing me and saying that I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so the question was about scientific research, academics, and business. So what I did was I picked a topic, an idea, an explanation, an example that is applicable to all of those, which is privacy. Academic research, private information. They're using people's private information. Academia, using private information again. Business, huge amount of private information. In every part, every single area of society, they're gathering private information in some way or another. I used the example of, what did I use? Google search history, because again, that's applicable to many different areas. And again, it's my plan. Guys, you're judging me on a plan, whereas I haven't even completed my essay yet. So, I wouldn't go, if someone was teaching me about something, I would maybe ask them to explain why, rather than say you're wrong and start criticizing them. Maybe it's a, no, I'm not getting into it. Thank you to all the people saying thank you and saying positive things. Sharika, can usage of that as a linking word be ignored in a complex sentence? Sharika, I think you misunderstand what a complex sentence is if you are judging it by which word you use. A complex sentence is, my name is Chris and I am from Ireland, is a complex sentence. You think that it's a simple sentence because it has simple words. You think a complex sentence has complex words. look up the definition of a simple sentence and a complex sentence. It's not what you think. Thank you very much, Burega. Chris, go and see your child and enjoy your meal. We should be paying much more than $1. Thank you very, very much. It's actually funny. The less money people pay, the more demanding they are. So we've had $1 courses, and we've had courses right the way up to like thousands of dollars. And the people that pay thousands of dollars are not as demanding as the people that pay $1. That sounds pretty unbelievable, but it's true. Not everybody is demanding, but we have had a huge number of people emailing us and demanding that we look at their samples and saying very nasty things to us for not looking at their samples. So, yeah. Is it mandatory to state opinion? Yes, it is, because it says it in the question. Let me see how many questions we have left. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get to everybody's questions, because it's nearly time to go. Okay, guys, so I'm going to go, because I'm never going to get through all of these questions. Thank you very, very much, though, for asking them. If any of your questions were related to structure, go back and look at the lesson that we did today. Many of you were asking, can we change this? Can we change that? Can we do this? Can we do that? Can blah, 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 blah. It's very difficult for me to answer those questions, because this has been developed over many, many years, and it really does work. It really helps people. This is exactly the same structure my VIP students use. There are many different ways that you can do this question. There are many, many different structures. There are many different ways not to do it. I can only teach one, because to teach multiple different things is going to lead to mistakes and confusion, and it's really difficult to teach and difficult to learn. So all I can say is, this is what I think works. Take it or leave it. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. That's all I can say. If you have any questions about developing main body paragraphs, we're going to be doing those tomorrow, and there's going to be more samples and everything. If your question is related to vocabulary or grammar in any way, we're going to be doing those on Thursday or Friday. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate all of your... sorry if I was a little bit... I didn't lose my temper, but I was a little bit like... sharp with some people. Basically, I've been getting thousands, not thousands, few hundred emails asking the same questions over and over and over and over and over again. I should try to keep as professional as possible, but I'm a human being, and when people ask the same questions again and again and again and again, and you tell them the answers, it's difficult. So apologies for not being as empathetic and as understanding as I should be. But yeah, we're all human, I suppose. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. The lesson for tomorrow is done. It's all rendered, all ready to go, and it will upload at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I'll send you an email. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll try and answer as many of your questions as I can. I'll go in tomorrow when I have time and just type the answers if I can. Again, thank you very much to the people who are asking questions no matter what they are, and the people who are doing the work and everything. I really, really appreciate it. See you again, guys. Bye bye.